30 days ago, I bought the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and it immediately became the camera I used for most of my content. That's including YouTube videos, social media work, and even professional gigs. So now, 30 days later, the question is, would I recommend this camera in 2025 after some heavy use?
If you're here because you're thinking of buying the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, you're watching the right video. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is without a doubt the best-selling camera of 2025. There's been a huge upgrade since its previous version, the DJI Osmo Pocket 2, and people are using it for all sorts of uses, as a webcam, as a daily vlog, camera setup, and for those shots that are a little bit tight and you need that small camera setup to fit in. So if you care about specs, this camera has a 1-inch sensor, 10-bit color, and can do 4K up to 120 frames per second, as well as having a 3-axis gimbal. Today I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and also share my thoughts on this camera. So let's start with the obvious one. This camera is incredibly versatile, and because of that reason alone, I've been able to film so much more content that otherwise I would just not film because my camera setup is too big. The D-Log picture profile is actually more handy than I initially thought because I was planning to film most of my content on the normal picture profile, but it is true that having that extra dynamic range helps you for that cinematic vibe. So essentially it is true that you have more work in post-production as you have to color grade and color correct the image, but for some very specific situations, it's quite handy to have that D-Log picture profile. The field of view, in my opinion, is just perfect. It's not too wide, it's not too close. It's the 20mm equivalent. So for me, for those vlogging situations, it's the perfect balance. Especially considering now you have the new software update and you can switch from 20mm to 40mm. So you essentially have 2 lenses with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
And so yeah, I thought I would show you a real live test of the DJI Osmo. As you can see, it powers on instantly. Let me bring the ISO down so you can see the screen. You can change the settings here. You can change also the picture profile, what we talked about before. I have it set to normal. You can change the gimbal modes as well if you wanted to. I have it set to this FPV mode. The brightness, you could bring it down. As you can see, the screen is very responsive. I'm very impressed by the software.
The software runs incredibly smooth. Coming from a GoPro Hero 8, I'm very surprised on how well this operates. It doesn't freeze, it doesn't lag, it just runs very, very smoothly. And I feel like there's basically no barriers from idea to filming. You could just get to filming straight away, which makes it super, super nice. The low light capabilities of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 are really good, especially when you see how big this camera actually is. It's tiny. And if you pair it with the black Pro Mist filter, which I carry with me all the time, it's even better because it makes that highlight roll off so much better and all the highlights are just blooming. So you can definitely shoot in low light conditions with no problem with the DJI Osmo Pocket. Now let's talk about some of the things I didn't actually like. So first of all, my first impressions was that this camera body is plastic and it feels very light, which in one aspect is good, but in another, it makes me not trust this setup very much. Because there's nothing wrong with the plastic, but the gimbal is attached to the camera, so if I drop this thing, I think it would be game over. So it is true that a tougher plastic or maybe even aluminium would be much nicer, but I suppose that's the kind of setup you get with the DJI cameras. So if I was to go in any experience that involves water, I'd probably not bring this setup because it feels very delicate and vulnerable. Next is the size. I know I said that was a Pro, but honestly, sometimes this camera being so small, because you have to attach like filters, whether it's like a Pro Mist filter or polarizer, it makes it quite hard to be able to remove the filter and stick it back on because this is a magnet. So it is true that sometimes a bigger camera would be much nicer, but I suppose you can't have it all. When I was using the normal picture profile in some situations where there was some weird contrast happening, I noticed my face had some like softening, as if this camera had like a filter of some sort that would soften the skin tones. Now, I don't know if that is true. I don't know if it's the software doing that or if it was just the camera alone, but I did notice that, and it does bring down the production value from the image quality of the DJI Osmo. As I said, only if the lighting isn't good. Other than that, that's pretty much it. There's no major flaws I found with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I think when people see this, they assume it's like some sort of toy camera, but it's actually way more capable than it looks. So if you know how gimbals work, use the right settings and get a little bit creative, you can get very cool shots with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I'll actually link a video I saw of the DJI Osmo that absolutely blew my mind, the fact that it was recorded with this camera. And I'm also going to be testing out some of the best accessories you could get for the DJI Osmo, so make sure you're subscribed to watch that. And if I didn't cover something you were wondering about, drop me a comment. I'd love to help. Thank you guys for watching.